Welcome back to Arise Prime Time. I'm Charles Adeniyi, and this wouldn't be prime time without the presence of our guest analyst to give his personal perspective on all the news and issues we've discussed today. And I'm joined for the rest of the program by the public affairs commentator, Arise News analyst, and head of mass communications at Bayes University in Abuja, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Great to see you, Prof.
Pleasure. Good evening, Charles.
The NNPP has released its campaign, I mean it's a manifesto, but they call it a campaign blueprint, which I think is actually quite nice, rather than just saying manifesto. But we had somebody in here, I have to admit, struggling to explain what was contained in the blueprint. What did you make of it all?
Well, first I think it's interesting development, a welcome one at that, that we're moving towards ideas, in political rhetorics. We're having a situation where the major aspirants, are privileging ideas, their manifestos, their programs, and they're pushing it out there such that we can pin them to maybe a general economic and political philosophy, and against which we can maybe begin to mark them in the future, but again, it is so much, there's so much we can actually say about these programs and manifestos and blueprints, as the case could be. First, we're in a system where these things don't presently matter, at the end of the day, you might just find it that it's just something, a document that only the elites will engage. Voters are not likely to vote on the basis of this manifestos program. It's still going to be, we're still going to be likely occupied, with
nevertheless, we're trying to make the issues achieve a measure of prominence this time.
That's right. I'm coming to that. I'm just trying to say that the majority of voters are not going to be looking at ideas.
I agree
but again,
with
the good side of it is that going forward in the future, we will now hope that they will be able to implement those ideas. It's one thing to have ideas, another thing to be able to implement it. The problem we have had in the past is the distance, the gulf that often exists between ideation and the practicalization. So we just hope that they will be able to implement it. Some of them are very, very robust. Some of them have also been very rigorous, other than just presenting it. They have gone ahead, like he tried to do. I watched him. Like he labored to tell you how they are going to implement it, even though he shouldn't be the one actually saying it, because it's not. The prince is not a candidate, but as a spokesman, he tried his best.
Well,
but there's a thin line between the ability to have a proper understanding of your program and to follow it through in terms of execution.
Yeah, but it could be a disservice to the party, because I mean today is such a crucial day for them. I think they should have done a much better job. I mean, if you watched, we had them live on Arise TV earlier in the day when they launched it, and the way that it was dissected, I thought was brilliant. I mean, I actually, to be honest, I thought their analysis was, to me, the best so far. Of what the way they identified the problems and what they're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just that they couldn't take it further by like, you see what I mean?
Well,
I just think.
Well, maybe we shouldn't expect all of them to have an equal understanding of what the manifestos are.
But if you're going to wheel people out, they have to have an understanding of what the thing is, or what's the point.
It could be a question of capacity, and capacities can actually be differentiated.
Well,
at some point, you might also have some people who can have very good graphs, of some of the issues, and of course, you can engage them excellently on some of the things that they're going
to do. Anyway, you're an
suggesting.
academic. I mean, you're a professor. I'm sure you will go through the thing eventually.
Well, it's interesting. But
let me
also say that it's work in progress. We still have some few months to go.
Sure.
We still have quite a number of them that will be engaging, that will be listening to, and it's going to get more interesting, really. But the bottom line is not for spokespersons, not for lieutenants, to be able to internalize these things. We need the candidates to have a proper understanding of what they are promising. And we are seeing it happening gradually. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu was in Lagos today, he engaged with the business, community, those are the commanding heights of the nation's economy. He engaged with a section of them. A PDP candidate who just came back from the United States. And of course, preparations are also on in that regard for his own engagement as well. So if Peter Obi has been doing it all the while, so we are seeing a robust conversation going on, but we want them to take proper ownership of their promises so that there won't be denials at the end of the day.
Okay, well, let's talk about the other issue, the right to reply that we heard from the PDP there, from a very articulate Dr. Ladan Salihu there, speaking on behalf of the PDP and taking issue with Kasima Febua, who basically said that there was a note of injustice with the emergence of Atiku, and that's part of what the problem is with the PDP. It is not fair, it's unjust. What do you think of the defense that Dr. Salihu put up?
Well, it's like an issue that will not just go away. You do not forget that Kashim is a very creative, a very voluble person.
Oh yeah, he's
always very eloquent.
He's extraordinarily articulate.
Yeah, and very determined to pursue whatever cause he believes in. He pursues it to the last point, and that's what we're seeing happening. And of course, Ladan Salihu too is not also a pushover in political activism, and of course in journalism as well. So it's good for us to have some of these positions. But the point is very. I saw some of your questions, very penetrating questions. But my deduction is that if it wasn't Atiku, I'm not sure if it wasn't Atiku, if it was because of the influence of Atiku, I'm not sure PDP would not have looked elsewhere in the production of their presidential
How do you mean elsewhere?
I mean, they'll probably have looked elsewhere apart from the North. But because of his influence,
I see what you mean.
His influence reigned in powerfully such that they couldn't look away from the North. And you can see all arguments, were weaved around his personality. Justifications came from the PDP intellectuals arguing in his favor, but arguing
basically
in the favor of the North.
He's a winner. He's a candidate who can
that can win. So that's just the point. And of course, I think they have tried. By now, we should be moving away from that argument, but of course, it's still continuing because of the crisis in the party. But I see at some point, I think that to begin to die down.
Well, he said it's not a crisis; it's a challenge, which I thought was a lovely play on words.
It's a matter of semantics.
But do you think the PDP,
it's a challenge that is very disturbing and distracting
but in
the party,
in the public mind, do you think the PDP is still seen as a bankable party and as the main challenger? Or is it being seen as no longer as powerful as it used to be? It's a disunited party and all the rest of it?
I don't think so, in fairness to them.
We've got about 30 seconds.
Yeah, it's a political environment that we're in. It's a political process. Political processes can be very, very fluid. PDP and APC, they are pioneering parties. At least they are the foremost party in this dispensation until the rise of the Labour Party through the instrumentality of Governor Peter Obi. So we cannot shove off either PDP or APC. And do not forget that, yes, PDP has its own crisis. APC is not also all well with APC too. There are still controversies around the same faith ticket, the Muslim ticket. That's still also raging. So it just depends on the level of the crisis and how they are managing it.
Okay.
But in the circumstances, it just seems that the PDP one is the loudest or is the louder, because of the personalities involved.
Right.
So we cannot still shove them aside. They still remain a force.
Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, I want to thank you very much indeed. Always a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow. From me and the entire team here in Abuja, bye-bye and thank you for watching.